What's your take on the president's opinion and the U.S. president, the U.S. government's opinion about the seeming, let me use that term, seeming profligacy of governors?
So why is it seeming? But maybe we'll get to that in a bit. Thank you very much for that. I would say that my opinion, and representing my organization, that is SERAP, would be the reality on ground, the facts. And that would mean that the U.S. government is not far from the mark. And that would also translate that the president would appear to be shifting the blame. The reality on ground today is that most Nigerians perceive the governors have been profligate. It speaks to the level of poverty in Nigeria. And the president really doesn't need the U.S. government to say that before he knows that. And that is why he's the CNC. And that is why he superintends over the governors. And so what the governors are doing, it's not...
Do you think the president superintends over the governors?
Over the country. And that is why it's called the commander-in-chief. And with the nature of federalism we practice, perhaps we call it the type of democracy we practice, the president has a lot of powers to influence the economy.
Influence, but does he have authority over the governors?
But he can set precedent, moral and legal. A very good example, we're talking about public trust here. Has the president declared his assets openly? What does that mean in terms of what governors should do or do that? What about the implementation of the report of the Auditor General? How has the president fared? Why should the governors also do the same? Loans and borrowing. The federal government is borrowing, perhaps the biggest borrower. Why won't the states take a cue from it? And to show you that this is not new, even the World Bank has seen this as a problem. And as far back as 2018, they inaugurated what is called the SIFTAS program, simply to make governors or state governments be more open and accountable to the people, not to the World Bank. And what that program simply means, among other things, is for the state governments to publish information, fiscal information, that includes data, that includes budget performance and the likes, which is not done across most of the states. So the governors have been largely deficient in terms of playing their part in providing leadership in terms of public trust. And that is perhaps because the president has not done enough as well. And that speaks to the infrastructure deficit that we have all over the country. And that's why you see governors who prioritize building big buildings at the expense of building infrastructure that will benefit the people. Talk about education, talk about health, talk about security, that the governors, according to what they get security force. And they are called the chief security officer of their state. So again, there is no way you can divorce the president from what is happening at the states, which I must tell you, it's not good.
Okay.